Imagine waking each day already tired, not from work, but from carrying everyone else's emotions. Here is the haunting question: why you care too much and yet feel so little peace? Close your eyes for a moment. See yourself constantly explaining, fixing, worrying. This is what caring too much does to you. Buddhist teachings reveal a truth few dare to face. Peace begins not when you try harder, but when you practice detachment and stop caring in the wrong way. As one quiet wisdom says, holding on is suffering, letting go is freedom. Why you should stop caring when you will find peace, the art of worrying less. This is not selfishness, this is Buddhism. Stay, because a powerful bonus lesson at the end may change how you live in 2026. 1. Stop abandoning your inner seat. You wake each morning already divided. One part of you rushes outward, pleasing, fixing, carrying burdens that are not yours. Another part sits quietly inside, unheard. You call this kindness, responsibility, love. But beneath it, something aches. Why does helping everyone else leave you hollow inside? This is not generosity. This is forgetting your own seat. And forgetting always has a cost. There is an old truth whispered in silence. When you abandon yourself, peace abandons you. You begin to say yes while your spirit says no. You smile while your chest tightens. Over time, the mind grows restless, the heart grows heavy, and life starts to feel crowded yet empty. You cannot pour clarity from an empty mind. And yet, you keep trying. Imagine a king who leaves his throne to serve his servants. At first, they are grateful. Then they grow confused. Without a ruler, the palace loses order. Voices clash, demands increase, chaos fills the halls. In the same way, when you step away from your inner seat, your life begins to run you. Your time, your energy, your emotions are consumed by what is loud, not what is true. This is not what wisdom teaches. True compassion begins with presence. Staying rooted within yourself is not selfishness, it is alignment. When you remain centered, your actions carry calm. Your words carry weight. Your boundaries become clear without anger. Ask yourself gently, where do I leave myself too easily? Who benefits from my self-abandonment? And who pays the price? Sit quietly for a moment. Breathe slowly. Imagine returning to the center of your chest, your true seat. Feel the steadiness there. Nothing to prove, nothing to chase, just awareness. From this place, decisions feel lighter. Saying no feels honest. Saying yes feels clean. This is where peace begins to rebuild itself. In modern life, you are taught that worth comes from sacrifice. But the deeper teaching is this: those who abandon themselves to please others slowly disappear, and call it kindness. In 2026, choose differently. Stay seated, lead your life from within. When you put yourself first in presence, clarity, and self-respect, peace follows, respect follows, results follow. The moment you stop leaving yourself, the world stops pulling you apart. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "Myself attracts everything." 2. Compassion without wisdom is still ignorance. You give and give again, believing that kindness must always cost you something. You listen when you are tired. You agree when your inner voice hesitates. You call this compassion. Yet quietly, something weakens inside. Can kindness, when misunderstood, harm both the one who gives and the one who receives? This question is not meant to accuse you, but to awaken you. There is a gentle truth often overlooked. Compassion without wisdom is still ignorance. When kindness is driven by guilt, fear of rejection, or the need to be needed, it loses its purity. It becomes exhausting, uneven, and quietly resentful. True compassion begins with clarity. Without clarity, even good intentions can lead to suffering, yours and theirs. Imagine a lamp burning without oil. For a moment, it shines brightly, admired by everyone in the room. But soon, the flame flickers, then dies. Darkness follows, not because the lamp was cruel, but because it was not cared for. In the same way, unwise compassion drains your energy until you have nothing left to offer. And those who depended on your light are left confused, even hurt. Wise compassion is different. Picture a flame steady and calm, protected from the wind. It does not rush to burn brighter. It does not fear the night. It simply stays present, sustained, and warm. This is the compassion that knows when to help and when to step back. It understands that saving everyone is not love, it is illusion. Pause here and look honestly within. Where do you confuse guilt with compassion? Who taught you that kindness must always involve sacrifice? Was it spoken or silently absorbed through expectations and praise? Notice how often your help is offered to avoid discomfort rather than to bring genuine benefit. In daily life, this misunderstanding appears everywhere. You carry emotional weight that is not yours. You fix problems others must face themselves. You absorb stress to keep peace, yet peace never comes. This is not failure, this is a signal. Compassion without wisdom keeps you busy, but never fulfilled. As you move toward 2026, allow your kindness to mature. Let it be guided by awareness, not fear. Help without abandoning yourself. Care without self-erasure. When your compassion is rooted in clarity, it heals rather than drains. The turning point is simple, yet profound. When you protect your inner flame, your light lasts longer and finally shows the way, not just for others, but for you. 3. Approval is the most silent addiction. You notice it in small moments. A pause before you speak. A second glance at your words. A quiet hope that someone will nod, agree, approve. Approval feels harmless, even motivating. Yet why does it never feel enough? No matter how much you receive, the hunger returns. This is how the most silent addiction survives. Unquestioned, unnamed, and deeply shaping your life. There is a subtle chain formed when your worth depends on reaction. Each compliment lifts you briefly. Each silence unsettles you. Each criticism cuts deeper than it should. What depends on others is never free. When your peace is rented from opinions, it can be taken away at any moment. And slowly, your choices stop being honest. They become strategic. Imagine drinking salt water when you are thirsty. The first sip promises relief, but the body dries further with each swallow. Approval works the same way. The more you seek it, the more desperate you feel without it. You perform instead of live. You adjust instead of listen. And the thirst for validation grows stronger than the voice of truth inside you. This craving weakens your inner balance. You begin to shape your actions around applause rather than purpose. You hesitate to rest because rest is not praised. You overextend because sacrifice is admired. In this way, approval quietly steals your time, your energy, and your direction. The suffering does not come from others. It comes from the dependence itself. Pause now. Notice your breath rising and falling without effort. It does not seek to impress. It does not ask to be seen. It simply exists, complete in itself. Ask gently, who am I trying to impress right now? What am I afraid of losing if I stop? And who would I be if this habit no longer guided me? In modern life, validation is everywhere, measured, counted, displayed. But peace cannot be quantified. When you put yourself first, you begin to act from alignment rather than approval. Your yes becomes sincere. Your no becomes calm. Respect begins to grow, not because you demand it, but because you are no longer begging for it. As 2026 approaches, choose freedom over applause. Release the thirst that never ends. Stand rooted in your own awareness. When approval no longer controls you, your mind grows disciplined, your actions grow clean, and your life finally moves forward with quiet strength. 4. Self-respect is not selfishness. You feel it the moment the word no reaches your lips. A tightening in the chest, a rush of explanations, a quiet guilt, as if you have committed a wrong. Why does guilt arise when you choose yourself? This question opens a door many avoid, because behind it waits a truth that changes how you live. Self-respect has been misunderstood for too long. You were taught that being good means being available, flexible, endlessly accommodating. Yet wisdom offers a different view. The middle path does not beg. It does not plead for acceptance, nor does it harden into cruelty. It stands balanced, calm, and clear. Imagine a river. With strong banks, it flows with purpose, nourishing fields along its path. Without boundaries, it spreads everywhere, flooding homes, destroying crops, losing its direction. Boundaries are not walls against others, they are channels for life. In the same way, when you lack self-respect, your energy spills in all directions, leaving you exhausted and unseen. Notice how often firmness is mistaken for harshness. You say yes when your body says no. You explain when silence would be enough. You carry discomfort, so others do not have to feel it. Ask yourself gently, where do I confuse firmness with cruelty? And what boundary am I avoiding because I fear being misunderstood? Stand still in your imagination now. See yourself grounded, calm, unmoving. No tension, no defense, just presence. This is what self-respect feels like. Not loud, not aggressive, but steady. When you honor this place within you, your words become fewer, yet more powerful. Your actions become simpler, yet more effective. In daily life, boundaries create clarity. At work, they protect your focus. In relationships, they protect your dignity. Within yourself, they protect your peace. When you stop over-explaining, people listen more closely. When you stop over-giving, what you offer gains value. This is not manipulation, it is alignment. As you move toward 2026, understand this deeply. Self-respect is not selfishness. It is wisdom in action. It is choosing not to abandon yourself for approval or comfort. When you stand in quiet firmness, respect follows naturally. Results follow steadily. And peace, real peace, finally has a place to stay. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "Myself attracts everything." 5. Discipline is silent self-love. At first, discipline feels like resistance, an inner tightening, a voice that says, "Rest later, start tomorrow, just this once." You feel weighed down by structure, as if it limits your freedom. Yet, a deeper question waits beneath this discomfort. Why does discipline feel heavy in the beginning, but freeing with time? The answer reveals a quiet form of love many overlook. Discipline is often confused with punishment, but wisdom teaches otherwise. Freedom is trained, not wished. When the mind lacks order, it drifts, reacting to every impulse and demand. This constant reaction creates fatigue. Discipline does not take freedom away. It returns it, slowly, gently, through consistency. Imagine a garden. If weeds are ignored, they spread silently, stealing nourishment from what you meant to grow. The garden becomes wild, demanding more effort later. But when weeds are removed daily, without anger or force, the soil stays open. Growth becomes natural. Your inner life works the same way. Small, repeated acts of discipline keep the mind clear and the heart light. Picture your day moving with simple, intentional rhythm. You wake without rushing. You work without distraction. You rest without guilt, nothing extreme, nothing rigid, just steady care. This is what inner order feels like, not control, but calm direction. From this place, peace begins to appear in ordinary moments. Ask yourself honestly, what small discipline would change my life? Perhaps it is waking earlier. Perhaps it is protecting a few minutes of silence. Perhaps it is completing what you start. Notice also what you are avoiding mastering, not because it is impossible, but because commitment exposes responsibility. Undisciplined living does not only affect you. When you lack structure, others absorb the consequences: missed promises, emotional inconsistency, unfinished work. Who benefits when you are undisciplined? Often, it is distraction, comfort, or fear. And who suffers? Your future self. As you move toward 2026, begin to see discipline differently. It is not harsh. It is quiet devotion for your own clarity. Each small act of order becomes a message to yourself. I care about my life. Over time, the weight lifts, the mind steadies, peace deepens, and you realize that true self-love was never loud. It was practiced patiently every day. 6. Your energy is your karma. Most suffering begins quietly, not through dramatic failure, but through unnoticed spending. You wake each day with a limited supply of energy, attention, and care. And without realizing it, you give it away. To worry, to comparison, to unresolved conversations replayed in the mind. How does where you invest your energy shape the future you will live in? This question is the doorway to understanding karma in its most practical form. Karma is not punishment or reward. It is momentum. Your energy becomes your direction. What you feed lives. Every thought repeated, every emotion indulged, every habit maintained is nourishment. Over time, what you nourish grows strong enough to shape your days without asking permission. Imagine a field during the rains. Wherever water falls consistently, seeds awaken. It does not matter whether the seed is useful or harmful. Growth follows attention. In the same way, when you water resentment, it roots itself deeply. When you water fear, it multiplies. When you water calm effort and awareness, something steadier begins to form. Destiny is not sudden. It is cultivated. Pause and gently guide your attention back to yourself. Feel where your mind rests most often. Is it scattered, tense, pulled outward? Or is it present, grounded, aware? Notice without judgment. Awareness itself begins the shift. From here, ask honestly, where does my energy leak each day? Is it in arguments that never resolve? In obligations chosen out of guilt? In thoughts that replay the past? Modern life is designed to harvest your attention. Noise feels urgent, distraction feels normal. Yet every moment you give energy to what drains you, you starve what could heal you. Attention is life force. When you protect it, clarity strengthens. When you waste it, confusion grows. Now consider a different investment. What deserves your attention instead? Perhaps it is your health, your craft, your inner stillness. Perhaps it is one task done fully, rather than many done halfway. When energy is focused, effort becomes lighter. When it is scattered, even rest feels tiring. As you move toward 2026, recognize this turning point. The future you step into is being fed right now. Ask yourself quietly, what future am I feeding today? When you put yourself first by choosing where your energy goes, karma begins to work in your favor. Peace becomes more frequent. Results become more consistent. And life, guided by awareness, starts to respond with quiet precision. 7. Detachment is not loss, it is lightness. You notice the tiredness first, not in the body, but in the heart. A quiet exhaustion that comes from holding on too tightly, to outcomes, to roles, to people, to old stories about who you must be. You call it responsibility, loyalty, love. Yet ask yourself honestly, why does holding on exhaust the heart? The answer reveals a freedom many fear to touch. Detachment is often misunderstood as loss, as if letting go means you no longer care. But wisdom points elsewhere. Clinging makes the hand heavy. When your grip tightens, even blessings become burdens. Power drains, not because you lack strength, but because you refuse to release what no longer moves with you. Imagine a traveler on a long journey. At first, he collects stones, proof of effort, memory, identity. Each stone feels important. But as distance grows, the weight slows his steps. Eventually, to walk farther, he must choose. Not because the stones are bad, but because the path ahead requires lightness. Letting go is not failure. It is discernment. Close your eyes for a moment and feel your grip. Where are you tense? In expectations, in control, in the need to be understood? Gently imagine loosening your hold, not forcing release, just softening. Notice the relief that follows. Space appears, breath deepens. This is what detachment feels like, not emptiness, but room to move. Ask yourself quietly, what am I gripping too tightly right now? Who am I without this attachment? Without the role, the outcome, the approval, the certainty. These questions may unsettle you at first, but within them lies clarity. When attachment loosens, identity becomes flexible. You are no longer trapped by what must happen next. In daily life, detachment restores power. You respond instead of react. You work without desperation. You love without possession. When things change, and they always do, you remain steady. This steadiness is not indifference. It is trust in your ability to meet life as it unfolds. As you move toward 2026, understand this turning point. Lightness is strength. When you put yourself first by releasing what weighs you down, energy returns, choices sharpen, peace becomes portable. Ask yourself one final question. What opens when I release? The answer is not something you gain, but the freedom you uncover when your hands are finally free. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "Myself attracts everything." Silence is the strongest boundary. You feel the urge immediately. Someone questions your choice, your pace, your decision, and words rush forward to defend, explain, justify. Silence feels dangerous, as if it will be misunderstood. Yet pause and ask, why do explanations so often weaken your power instead of strengthening it? This question reveals a boundary deeper than words. Silence is not absence, it is presence without negotiation. Stillness needs no defense. When you over-explain, you invite others into a space that was never theirs to enter. You trade inner authority for approval, hoping clarity will protect you. But true clarity stands without argument. Imagine a mountain during a storm. Wind howls, rain strikes, thunder challenges its presence. The mountain does not respond. It does not explain its height or justify its stillness. And yet, when the storm passes, the mountain remains unchanged. This is the quiet strength of silence. It does not resist. It endures. Sit for a moment, as if nothing needs to be justified. Feel the body settle. Notice how the mind slows when it no longer prepares defenses. Silence creates a boundary that words cannot. It signals self-trust. It teaches others how to treat you, not through instruction, but through example. Ask yourself gently, where do I over-explain? Is it in your work, your relationships, your personal choices? Who demands your justification? Often, it is not authority, but insecurity, yours or theirs. Notice how explanations are offered to ease discomfort rather than to communicate truth. In daily life, silence restores energy. When you stop explaining, conversations shorten. Expectations clarify. People either respect your boundary or reveal their need to control. Both outcomes are informative. Silence filters what belongs to you from what does not. This does not mean withholding kindness or clarity when needed. It means choosing when words serve wisdom and when they serve fear. Silence is not avoidance, it is discernment. It allows you to act without dragging your peace through debate. As you move toward 2026, practice this boundary with care. Let your actions speak. Let your calm answer questions words cannot. Ask yourself one final time, what happens if I remain silent? Often, you will discover that nothing falls apart, except the need to defend who you are. And in that space, power quietly returns. 9. Inner order commands outer respect. Notice how people respond to you before a single word is spoken. Some are calm, some are careless, some cross lines without hesitation. This is not coincidence. It points to a deeper question. Why do people treat you as you treat yourself? The answer is not found in techniques or persuasion, but in alignment. Respect is not demanded, it is transmitted. The world mirrors inner posture. When your inner life is disordered, signals leak outward. Hesitation, over-accommodation, inconsistency. Others sense it, often unconsciously, and respond accordingly. When your inner world is aligned, something steadier appears. Without force, without explanation, respect begins to form around you. Imagine a straight spine, not rigid, not tense, but upright and balanced. The body organizes itself around it. Movement becomes efficient. Strain reduces. In the same way, when your inner values are clear and your actions match them, life responds with less resistance. This is not dominance, it is coherence. Stand tall within, not outwardly. This is not about posture or appearance. It is about how you treat yourself when no one is watching. Do you honor your time? Do you speak to yourself with patience or contempt? Do you follow through on your own promises? These private moments quietly teach the world how to engage with you. Ask yourself honestly, how do I treat myself in silence? What standard am I modeling through my habits, boundaries, and self-talk? When you accept disorder within, you invite disorder from others. When you tolerate disrespect internally, you normalize it externally. The outer world simply follows the pattern you set. In work, inner order shows as reliability and clarity. In relationships, it appears as consistency and calm presence. In conflict, it becomes steadiness rather than reaction. People trust what is predictable and aligned. They respect what does not shift with every pressure. As 2026 approaches, understand this turning point. You do not need to demand respect, you need to embody it. Decide what behavior you tolerate. Decide what you reject, quietly, firmly. Each aligned decision reinforces your inner structure. Each act of self-respect strengthens your presence. Return again to that inner spine. Feel it steady, balanced, alive. From this place, respect follows naturally. Results become sustainable. Peace becomes stable. When your inner life stands in order, the outer world has no choice but to respond in kind. 10. Solitude is a sacred teacher. There is a moment many avoid, the moment when no one is calling, no screen is glowing, and nothing asks for your attention. In that quiet, discomfort often rises. Thoughts grow louder, emotions surface. Yet ask yourself gently, why does silence reveal truth? What is it that becomes clear only when the world steps back? Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is the presence of yourself. Truth speaks softly. When life is noisy, its voice is drowned out. Only in stillness does it begin to whisper, not with judgment, but with honesty. Imagine a bowl of muddy water. When shaken, nothing can be seen clearly. But when left undisturbed, the mud settles, the water clears. In the same way, when you stop filling every space with noise and distraction, the mind begins to settle. What once felt confusing slowly reveals its shape. Sit alone, gently, without distraction. No fixing, no planning, just being. Notice what arises when you are not escaping yourself. Ask quietly, what do I avoid hearing? Often, it is not fear, but truth asking for attention. Truth about boundaries, truth about direction, truth about what no longer fits. When was the last time you were truly alone, not scrolling, not consuming, not performing? In solitude, masks fall away. You meet the self beneath habit and expectation. This meeting may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is also freeing. You begin to see what is essential and what is merely noise. In daily life, solitude becomes a teacher. It sharpens intuition. It strengthens discipline. It restores inner authority. Decisions made after silence carry less regret. Words spoken from stillness carry more weight. You no longer need constant reassurance because clarity has taken root within you. As you move toward 2026, choose solitude with intention. Not as withdrawal, but as renewal. A few minutes each day is enough. Let silence do its quiet work. Ask yourself one final question. What clarity arises when I stop running from stillness? When you put yourself first by honoring solitude, peace deepens, respect stabilizes, results align. And in the quiet, you discover that you were never alone, only waiting to listen. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "Myself attracts everything." 11. Choosing yourself ends in a war. There is a quiet battle many carry without realizing it. One voice urges rest, truth, restraint. Another pushes obligation, expectation, and fear of disappointing others. This inner conflict drains more energy than any outer struggle. Pause here and ask, why does inner conflict fade the moment you choose yourself? The answer reveals the end of a war you were never meant to fight. Inner war is not caused by weakness, it is caused by division. Harmony begins with decision. When you hesitate between what you feel and what you perform, the mind pulls in opposite directions. Exhaustion follows, confusion grows, not because life is too demanding, but because you are not aligned with your own values. Imagine two oxen tied to the same cart, pulling in opposite directions. No matter how strong they are, the cart does not move. The effort is real, yet progress is impossible. This is what happens when your actions contradict your inner truth. Energy is spent, but nothing advances. Now, visualize something different. Feel your inner forces turning toward the same direction. Thought, emotion, and action moving together. There is no strain here, no argument, just forward motion. This is the relief alignment brings. Peace is not something you add. It is what remains when resistance ends. Ask yourself honestly, where am I divided right now? Is it between rest and overwork, truth and silence, growth and comfort? Notice how the body responds to these questions. Tension often marks misalignment. Ease signals the path forward. Choosing yourself does not mean rejecting others. It means refusing to betray your own clarity. When you honor what is true for you, decisions simplify. Guilt loosens its grip. Resentment dissolves because you are no longer forcing yourself into shapes that do not fit. In daily life, alignment shows as steadiness. You move with fewer explanations. Your no feels clean. Your yes carries commitment. People sense this coherence and respond with trust. Results improve not through effort, but through reduced friction. As you move toward 2026, understand this turning point deeply. The end of inner war does not require force. It requires a choice. Ask yourself one final time, what choice brings alignment? When you choose it, notice what follows: quiet, strength, peace, and the realization that choosing yourself was never selfish. It was the decision that allowed your life to finally move forward. Bonus lesson. 2026 is a threshold, not a year. You may think of 2026 as a date on a calendar, another year waiting to arrive. But there is a quieter truth beneath the numbers. Some years are not meant to be passed through, they are meant to be crossed. Ask yourself gently, who will you become by letting go now? The answer shapes the life waiting on the other side. A threshold is not about time. It is about identity. When the old drops, space appears. Without release, there is no room for renewal. You carry habits, roles, and beliefs that once protected you, but now weigh you down. The suffering is not in change itself. It is in clinging to what has already finished its work. Imagine a snake shedding its skin. It does not mourn what it leaves behind. It does not rush the process. Growth demands release, not effort. The old skin was once necessary. Now it restricts movement. Letting go is not loss. It is obedience to life's next instruction. Close your eyes and see yourself stepping lightly into a new season. No heavy explanations, no borrowed expectations, just presence. Notice how the body feels when it is no longer dragging the past forward. This is what readiness feels like. Not excitement, but clarity. Ask yourself with honesty, what must end this year? Perhaps it is a pattern of self-betrayal. Perhaps it is constant urgency. Perhaps it is the need to be understood by everyone. Endings are not punishments. They are permissions. They allow what is true to finally emerge. Now ask a deeper question. Who am I becoming? Not who should I be or who will impress others, but who arises when I live aligned with my values. Identity is shaped quietly through choices made in silence. Each time you choose peace over performance, discipline over chaos, clarity over approval, a new self takes form. What peace awaits you? Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of steadiness. Not control, but trust. When you put yourself first, not through ego, but through awareness, life responds differently. Respect stabilizes, results align. The mind grows disciplined, yet gentle. As you approach 2026, step forward without dragging yesterday behind you. Cross the threshold consciously. Let the old fall away. When you do, you will discover that what awaits you is not a new year, but a lighter, truer way of being. Quick summary of the principles. Stop abandoning your inner seat. Continuously prioritizing others over yourself creates inner emptiness and confusion. Peace begins when you stop betraying your own needs. Self-loyalty is the foundation of emotional stability. Compassion without wisdom is ignorance. Kindness without awareness leads to burnout and resentment. True compassion includes yourself, not just others. Wisdom balances care with self-preservation. Approval is the most silent addiction. Seeking validation slowly erodes self-worth and clarity. Dependence on approval creates emotional instability. Freedom begins when self-respect replaces validation. Self-respect is not selfishness. Setting boundaries is an act of inner maturity. Guilt arises from conditioning, not wrongdoing. Self-respect allows healthier relationships to exist. Discipline is silent. Self-love, daily self-discipline, strengthens inner peace and focus. Order within reduces chaos outside. Consistency builds confidence without force. Your energy is your karma. Where attention goes, life direction follows. Scattered energy weakens progress and peace. Focused energy rewrites long-term outcomes. Detachment restores. Inner power. Letting go reduces emotional suffering. Attachment creates unnecessary mental weight. Detachment allows calm, clear decision-making. Silence is the strongest boundary. Explanations weaken personal authority. Silence reflects inner certainty. Calm presence communicates more than words. Inner order creates outer respect. People respond to how you treat yourself internally. Self-alignment shapes external interactions. Respect emerges naturally from inner stability. Solitude reveals inner truth. Time alone clarifies thoughts and emotions. Silence exposes hidden attachments. Solitude strengthens self-awareness and calm. Choosing yourself ends inner conflict. Inner struggle fades when priorities align. Self-choice creates emotional clarity. Peace follows decisive self-honoring actions. 2026 is a threshold for transformation. True change begins with identity, not time. Letting go allows renewal. A new inner standard defines the future. Putting yourself first is not a rejection of others. It is a return to truth. Zen teaches that when the mind is divided, suffering multiplies. When the mind is aligned, peace arises effortlessly. Most exhaustion is not caused by life's demands, but by self-abandonment disguised as virtue. As one quiet teaching reminds us, you cannot calm the world until you stop fighting yourself. In choosing yourself, you do not become less compassionate, you become whole. In 2026, let your life be guided by clarity instead of guilt, discipline instead of exhaustion, and inner respect instead of endless approval seeking. Zen wisdom says, when nothing is missing within you, nothing outside can disturb you. Walk forward gently but firmly, honoring your energy, your limits, and your truth. Ask yourself today, what would naturally fall into place if I finally placed myself where I belong? If this wisdom resonated with you, gently support the journey, like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comment box.